We're absolutely delighted to be here at Boulder, bringing JLF all the way across different continents to share it with you all here. I was in Dallas day before yesterday, and I went to the 6th floor museum. And one of the things that I saw was JFK making a speech where he talks about arts and commerce being one of the areas that he wanted to focus on, because he felt that it would create an equal society and it would bring people together and build communities. What really intrigued me was that he brought arts before commerce. He said arts and commerce, and he said that in a number of speeches. And it reaffirmed, in a sense, what we collectively believe in, that the arts creates wealth, both tangible and intangible. It contributes to society, it contributes to cities, it contributes to local economies, and most importantly, it builds awareness. How else can you sit in this wonderful library venue in Boulder, Colorado, and without moving an inch, travel the world? The arts creates that window through which you can explore different philosophies, cultures, traditions, understand differences, celebrate them, debate and discuss, agree to disagree, and you can do all of that without necessarily raising a gun. In today's extremely divisive world, it is absolutely vital for us to be able to hear different voices from different parts of the world and different communities. And that's really what we've gathered here to do. We have brought together over 100 authors from all parts of the world to share in humanity, to share their empathy, and to show us the many different facets that we know as life on this planet. Putting this together has been our wonderful festival directors, and I'm going to invite first Namita Gokhale, who has worked with all her colleagues and has worked in consultation with so many of you here over the past 1.5 years to create a program where we're not necessarily trying to replicate Jaipur, but what we're trying to do is create an organically built platform very much here in Boulder, which is going to be our home for the Jaipur Literature Festival in the Americas. Ladies and gentlemen, Namita Gokhale, writer, festival director.
It's a transformational process, and it's a transformational moment to be here in this beautiful part of the world with our colors of Jaipur over us, the rainbow colors. And I am an anxious speaker, so I will have to look at my notes, if you'll excuse me, unlike Sanjoy. It's, as I said, one of life's surprises that brings Jaipur and Boulder together. But it's not only geographical distances, but the creative imagination. And the creative imagination is always unfettered and free. One of the great connections between my part of the world and here is an iconic figure in India called Kalpana Chawla, who was the first Indian-American astronaut and the first Indian woman in space, who died in a space shuttle disaster in 2003. She'd studied aerospace engineering in Boulder in 1988 and become an American citizen. And there's a quote from her on the net where she says, "When you look at the stars and the galaxies, you feel you are not from any particular piece of land, but from the solar system." And then the other feeling I got of home when I came here was as we walked to the library. One of the well-worn stones that lead to it had the 2 lines from our national poet, Rabindranath Tagore, who got the Nobel Prize in 1913. And it said, "I leave no trace of wings in the air, but I am glad I had my flight." And that somehow came in with Kalpana Chawla, who had her flight and who left some traces. But the words, so it's about, our festival is about the secret life of words. And words, as I said, have their own trajectories, even word roots, where they begin, where they find new expression and new meaning. Sometimes silence is also a form of speech, but being silenced is never a valid form of speech. Being silent is different from being silenced. And in many, many parts of the world now, it is increasingly common to find ourselves being silenced by so many factors which we don't even recognize or understand. I want to explain very briefly the spirit of Jaipur to you, of the festival that Jules and Jesse visited and brought back to find its unique place here. We are all cosmopolitan supposedly in spirit, but even cosmopolitanism has its own parochialisms unless it is rooted in the place where it belongs and begins. So I come from a country where there are 24 national languages, and our festival tries to accommodate all those, plus not only the Anglophone emphasis, but also French, Spanish, other languages from around the world, Chinese, Arabic. And a dear friend of mine who was one of our greatest writers, U.R. Anantamurthy, once said, "The more you search diversity, the more you find unity. And the more you seek unity, the more you are struck by the diversity around you." So that is what we are going to search here, the diversity and the unity between all of us from different parts of the world. We had an inspiring keynote speaker some years ago called Mahashweta Devi, who's a great Indian writer, and she gave a speech. In the opening address was about the right to dream. And she said, the right to dream should be the fundamental human right. So with that fundamental human right, the right to dream, I call my co-director to talk about dreams and imagination.
Please welcome Festival co-director, award-winning novelist, William Dalrymple. Day before yesterday, he was given yet another award for Return of the Kings. I forget, it's just unpronounceable, the award, so I'm going to ask Willie to talk about that. Or my version of it.
I hope I'm not breaking confidence to reveal Sanjoy just came up to me in the middle of Namita's speech and said, "Was it the Kardashian award you just won?" It was not the Kardashian award, sadly. Nor was I awarded a Kardashian, but we started Jaipur very, very modest expectations. It grew out of an existing wonderful festival set up by our mentors, a wonderful couple called John and Faith Singh in Jaipur. And at that festival, which was in a sense the seed of this festival, I gave a reading in Diggy Palace, which was the first time they'd ever had a reading there, in 2004, and 14 people turned up, of whom at least 7 were Japanese tourists who'd got lost on the way to Jaipur. And kept looking more and more uneasy through my speech and walked out halfway through, which I'm glad to say none of you have done yet. Since then, it's been like Namita describes it as like a monster in Puranic myth. One of these fantastic Indian stories of this sort of growing beast. And from 14 people, it grew to 100, to 200, to 2,000, to 20,000, to 200,000, and close to 1/3 footfalls last year. And it is, I think, now formally the largest literary festival in the world, but also, and very importantly, it is a free literature festival. The fact that anyone can come to it is one of the reasons that I love it so much. We have a much younger demographic than most literary festivals. In the crowd in Jaipur, you see ranks and ranks of school kids. And the most moving thing to do in the festival is to go down to Jaipur railway station of an evening and see sleeping rough on the railway station kids from Assam and Tamil Nadu who somehow got tickets across India and made it just so that they can see these great writers for free. And I think by bringing the greatest minds in the world together and presenting them for absolutely no money, I don't think you can even calculate the kind of light bulb effects that you're having over a whole generation. Sanjoy once stopped a rather ragged, Sanjoy saw a guard stop a rather ragged-looking figure coming into the festival one year with his little child. And Sanjoy went over to ask why he was being stopped coming in. And the response was, it was a rickshaw driver. He said, I can't afford to send this kid to school, but I've heard there are great writers here. If maybe he could hear some of them, some of it will rub off. And that's very much the spirit of the festival. It attracts all varieties of people, from the kind of Delhi elite with their Dior sunglasses flashing off their beautifully cleaned and manicured and coconut oiled haired, through to our rickshaw driver and everything in between, old teachers with thermos flasks and packs of sandwiches. And it's a wonderfully diverse and sort of vibrant gathering. But I think it's an extremely important thing to have the written word performed. In a sense, the central act of literature is that silent communication between first the writer sitting at his desk and the piece of paper or the screen of his laptop as he puts down into words the thoughts circling and fermenting and bubbling in his mind. And then equally the silent communion between the written word and the reader, also sitting probably on their own, maybe late at night in bed or sitting up in an armchair or on a beach or wherever it is. But the public performance of literature is an integral part of literature in all cultures, whether it's oral storytelling in Native America, whether it's the bardic tradition of Rajasthan, whether it's Shakespeare on the boards of the Globe, or whether it's Walt Whitman here. To have literature performed is particularly an Indian art. It's been a central part of courtly life and courtly entertainment in all India's many diverse cultures and religions, north and south, from the Sangam poetry competitions hundreds of years BC in the great classical courts of Tamil Nadu, through to the 18th century courts of the bards, of the Rajas of Mysore, the 18th century courts of the Rajas of Jaipur, where business at the beginning of the day would always start with a recitation of poetry. I have to say we didn't know this when we started the Literature Festival. It was very nice to discover that Jaipur had this indigenous tradition of performed literature. You often read in editorials and in sort of YOY columns in the press around the world that literature is going into abeyance, that people are spending their whole time on Twitter or Facebook or social media, watching movies or television rather than reading. But I think the enormous expansion of literary festivals in the world, and not least in India, where in our wake 60 other festivals have opened in South Asia, so that it's now possible for a writer never again to write anything, and he just has to go happily from festival to festival, avoiding deadlines and putting off his creditors. This is, I think, a very exciting development, because it shows that as worlds become more remote and digital, as one interacts more and more with screens than with people, there is strangely an added premium put on the single human being or this group of 5 people discussing a topic face-to-face across a stage, live entertainment, but also live education, live production of culture. And that's exactly what we are all about. So I hope you enjoy this diverse gathering. I have to say that the great majority of programming work here was done by my colleague Namita, and I bow and apologise to her for my sometimes failure to keep up with her emails, but she's put together an extraordinary programme, and I hope you enjoy it very much.
I remember when Maruta, Jesse, and Jules and I sort of talked about what we wanted to make this festival, we were very clear that what we did want is that this became the hub of literature gatherings from people from across the Americas. And we're absolutely delighted that we've had people who've registered from New York, from New Jersey, from Chicago, from Boston, San Francisco, LA, Pasadena, Atlanta, Georgia, Dallas, and many other parts of America who are going to be flying in between today and tomorrow. No festival is made possible by 2 or 3 people or 5 people or whatever. It's really a whole incredible effort by all kinds of people. And when Jesse, Jules, and Maruta approached the city, what we found was we had their incredible support, and that's one of the reasons why I decided that yes, we would set this festival down in Boulder. The city really got behind it. I remember in the early days at a meeting somebody said, you know, Boulder is known for Iron Man. We also want to be known for literature. To thank the city, I'd love to welcome Mayor Matt Applebaum.
Good morning, everyone. I don't think I can be quite as eloquent as the previous speakers, but I can do something that no other mayor in the United States can do, and that is to say these very simple and wonderful words, which is welcome to the Jaipur Literature Festival. So why Boulder? Well, in Mayoral Class 101, or Introduction to Mayoring 101, if there were such a class, we'd of course be taught to tout our cities. Now in Boulder, that's particularly easy to do. Those of you who know Boulder, there's a lot going on here that is pretty wonderful. But a couple of things come to mind that are of course quite relevant to this wonderful festival. First of all, as a number of people have mentioned, you know, people think of Boulder and you think of our outdoor activities, you think of our open space, you think of the Flatirons, you think of, you know, many of the things that are well known for Boulder. Those of us who every once in a while huff and puff our way bicycling up Flagstaff or go running, and we're passed by basically everybody. But it's okay because they're all world-class athletes and you don't feel so bad after a while. You know, that's kind of what people often think of, but Boulder is just as much a city of ideas as it is a city of outdoor activities. With the university, with the Conference on World Affairs, with the federal laboratories, with the incredible innovation and entrepreneurial spirit that goes on in Boulder, it is very hard to think of Boulder as anything but a city of ideas. And so an event like this fits in so well with the community, the people who live here, who come here to share ideas and to think about you know, literature and art and culture. We perhaps aren't as quite as well known for that, but it goes on and it's just as important to the community as the other items are. The second thing I'd say is just to think about how well known Boulder is nationally and internationally. And again, sometimes we forget this. We're not a very big place, you know, 100,000 people kind of plunked down in the middle of the United States. We're not on a coast where, you know, most things really happen. And yet Boulder, you know, fights way above its weight, basically. We get invited to an astonishing array of national and international events because people want to know what we're doing here. And that's very much in the realm of sustainability and resilience and environmental protection, as you might imagine. This year has been a particularly crazy year for me. Those of you who follow the news, we were invited to the Vatican in July to one of 65 cities that attended the Pope's Symposium on Climate Change. I'll be going as part of a very small delegation for the National League of Cities to the COP21, the UN Conference on Climate Change in Paris in December. people think of Boulder all the time in this much bigger landscape. And why is that? Well, because we take on a lot of interesting things. We stick our neck out, we try things, we engage, we work on a national and international scale. We get our ideas out there on this much broader landscape. And again, to me, that's such a perfect thing that the Jaipur Literature Festival is bringing to Boulder as well. It is simultaneously local, national, and international. It's a combination of our citizens and our authors, people nationally, people internationally, getting together to exchange ideas, to exchange thoughts, to learn from each other, to get to know each other, to work with each other. And to me, that's really what Boulder is about. And it's amazing that in this, as I say, relatively small community, that we can pull that off. But this is just one more example of it. We are absolutely delighted that the Literature Festival chose Boulder, little old Boulder, from all the places they could have chosen in the United States. They chose Boulder, and we think we're a perfect fit. We know it's going to be a fabulous weekend of events, and we hope, and actually I think we know, that this is just the beginning of a fabulous collaboration with the Jaipur Literature Festival, an event that's only going to grow over the years, become more important, attract more authors, more people, make Boulder known as a place that it's not just sports, it's not just outdoor activities, it's literature, it's culture, and it's ideas that bring us together and keep us here. So thanks so much for coming. Look forward to having a wonderful weekend event with all of you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Can I ask my colleague to just give the Mayor a little gift from our side? It's a lamp which we light in honor of our goddess of learning, Saraswati. Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much, Joni. And thank you, Matt, for loaning us Joni. Joni's been amazing. She canceled her summer vacation to come and help in this festival. You know, the three reasons why, or among the many reasons, the three reasons that sort of made me believe that this was the place was, once having survived Maruta's lift from the airport to Boulder, where she nearly tried to kill me, as we sort of crested, and I'm not sure what the highway was, as we crested the highway, you know, just came across this incredible vision of the Front Range, which was just jaw-dropping, amazing. And then having gone and stayed at the Boulderado with its resident hosts and its higgledy-piggledy ways and the Pearl Street Mall and all of that, then came to the library and walked past the brook, and I said, wow, what an amazing place. A library divided by water, water flowing through, everything about knowledge, amazing light. And the incredible support that the library has brought to this project has really been one of the great backbones of the festival. And we know that that's something that's going to help us grow over the next few years. So please welcome the head of the library, David Vernon.
Good morning. Welcome to Boulder Public Library. I have the great good fortune to come to this library in this beautiful park in this beautiful city every day, and it's a great pleasure to welcome you here today as well. We are, as a public library, we stand for the free expression, open expression of ideas. And when we first met Sanjoy, he seemed to be the embodiment of that. And I thought, what a great marriage we could have together with the Public Library of Boulder and all public libraries really throughout the United States. I think often we forget in a very privileged society the meaning of some of those words, but standing for the free and open expression of ideas. But we truly do, as a public library, stand for those as a right of individuals to think and view and create for themselves. It is truly our privilege to stand for that right. And the free and open expression of ideas, I think free in our society has become something that people think they can take away. It means it's something that we can just grab. But free is anything but. The free expression of ideas is really the embodiment of our society and what allows for an event like this to take place, where diverse opinions can be expressed in a free and open environment where people feel comfortable. I love the idea that there's going to be tons of stories told over the next 2 weeks. That's really what we're all about. But I personally, and many librarians, we are foremost, we are readers. And we are fond of saying, and I'm sure you'll see some of my staff walking around today with a t-shirt that says, reading is a creative act. We truly believe that reading is a creative act in the sense in which we call together memory. William mentioned TV and all those things, and I love TV. We all watch TV, and it does, for a moment, take me away, but it's nothing like the sense of preservation that I experience when I read, and that's something I think that we take away, all of us as readers. We begin to create the story that an author composed in a manner which maybe they didn't even imagine. I was reading, and I'll leave with this, I was reading recently Patrick Modiano, a great French writer, and he was comparing, well, he was speaking of the fleeting experiences, emotional experiences of a child. And the child is leaving the beach on the end of a summer day, and of course they break down in tears and are torn, and then less than 80 seconds later, they're on a street corner and they see a balloon and they're suddenly taken away in another experience and they're filled with joy. And he compares in some ways our lives to that moment of these fleeting experiences of a child, fleeting emotions of a child. And I think today and tomorrow, this weekend, we have this great, great privilege, great honor to share in stories in a fleeting way, indeed, but in a manner which hopefully we can all preserve and take away. There will be memories of the library, memories of this beautiful park, of the beautiful city here at the foot of the Flatirons. And I hope you all truly, truly enjoy your time here in Boulder, and I hope you will treat this library, which is all of our homes, like your home for the next 2 or 3 days, and please indeed come back. I again want to thank the Jaipur Festival so much for thinking of us, and ultimately for thinking the Boulder Public Library as a venue for this great event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you and all your colleagues of the library. And can I ask you to receive a little gift from us, from Maruta, who can't walk up the steps, so you have to walk down. On behalf of Namita William and my colleagues, Suraj, Kritika, and all of us at Teamwork, we really need to thank 3 wonderful people for bringing us here to Boulder. Maruta, who wrote us the email, who had been coming to the festival ever since its inception and even before, and Jules and Jesse, who stumbled upon it at the end of a wonderful trek where they'd gone to listen to the teachings of the Dalai Lama, and stumbled onto Jaipur, and then on their way back home had this vision of getting us to come here. So there it was. They sent me an email saying, please, we would love you to come to Boulder, and these are the reasons. I, of course, when I read the email, went, so where is Boulder exactly? And as it happened, I was flying from Chicago through to San Francisco, so I stopped off here, and that's where the story began. To say thank you to all the wonderful people who've helped make this festival happen. And as somebody said to me yesterday, I think it was Namita, she said, you know, I have an instinct that this one is going to be the biggest of them all. And for all of you who've come here from across America, thank you. Remember, you were here at the first go. It's the first festival. It's year 0. We look at it as year 0. So look forward to seeing you again and again. Spread the word, bring more people back. And without much ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the mother of the festival, Jessie Friedman.
Welcome, everybody. This was just one of my crazy ideas that now you all are manifesting out there. So thank you for doing that. As many of you know, I'm a psychotherapist. I am not an event producer. So I first want to thank my incredible advisory board who got on board with this notion immediately. These are ladies and gentlemen who have been supporting the arts, cultivating and nurturing the arts in Boulder for several decades, been the patrons of the arts, and without their assistance and guidance, and just them sort of having my back and allowing me to have the confidence to go forward with what we're doing, none of this would have happened. So to begin with my advisory board, I want to thank Johnny Teeter, who's also on the Library Commission and on the Library Foundation, Joanna Rosenblum, Boli Medipa, Sophie Walker, Carolyn Shuham, Michael and Stephanie Carter, Pat Wright, Margaret Cole, Maggie Fouquet, Stephanie Rudy, and the now retired but very well-known director of the Conference on World Affairs for over a decade and a half, James Palmer. They've just been invaluable in helping me manifest this dream. So, of course, I want to thank the City of Boulder and Mayor Matt Applebaum and City Manager Jane Brodigam, who immediately, right at the very start, came on board as partners. They saw the vision. They didn't have to think twice about the value of this, not just for our city, but for the state and for the United States, and the incredible good fortune of Boulder to have landed this. So I want to thank the city, of course, the library. Then we had this all planned up on the CU campus originally, because I'm a psychotherapist. I couldn't get the city's attention at first. I'd call some office and say, hey, can I use the city grounds to do this festival? And they would say, no, we don't think so. And then David Farnan, the director of the library, heard I was trying to get the Jaipur Literature Festival, and he heard it was planned at CU, and he said, I want it here at the library. So within a day, he had all the city spaces reserved for us. A lot of visionaries involved here. I would like to thank our major foundation and corporate sponsors. The Library Foundation itself has been phenomenally generous. The Bonfils Stanton Foundation of Denver saw the vision, and rarely do they fund anything in Boulder, so that was fairly unique and wonderful. The Boulder Arts Commission, the Boulder Convention and Visitors Bureau, Naropa University came on board. They've been fantastic. They're our sponsors of our Sunday night closing reception. Colorado Fine Arts Association sponsored our music last night and this weekend on the Pearl Street Mall. The Colorado Office of Economic Development and International Trade, which is under the governor, they immediately got on board and saw the benefit of this for, again, Colorado and the United States. Center for Asian Studies up at CU, Caring Kind, who is sponsoring the Authors Dinner tonight, and Helping Hands Herbals. There are some major donors I would like to thank as well: James Palmer, the George Lichter Family Fund, Sophie and Jack Walker Foundation, the Carolyn Shuham Foundation, John Mackey and Deborah Morin Foundation, Pat Wright, Todd and Eliza Wollison, Nikki Woolman, and David Fulker. I want to make sure I thank the Boulder Bookstore, who has set up a bookstore downstairs just for the festival. And I would like to thank Mike Eubank, who is with the City of Boulder and manages all the major events for the City of Boulder, the Boulder, the Creek Festival, and helped put us together with all the different city departments to make this happen on city grounds, which is a complicated event. I'd like to thank my husband, Jules Levinson, and my 3 phenomenal children who've made my life magical and brought me my most incredible grandson, Jasper, who's right back there. Wave at Jasper. And I'd like to thank the authors who are the heart of this festival, Namita Gokhale and William Dalrymple. It's their minds that are the essence and magic and soul of this, and this phenomenal experience Jules and I had in Jaipur, which was as meaningful and transcendent as anything. As Sanjoy mentioned, we just come from an amazing translation conference and spent some time with the Dalai Lama, and we found the Jaipur Literature Festival to hold just the same depth of meaning of the expression of the human mind and human heart, And I want to thank all the authors who come and share and put their minds into writing for all of us. So thank you so much. Let's keep this in Boulder. Tell all your friends. If we show a good turnout, we can be the U.S. extension, the U.S. home of the Jaipur Literature Festival. So please spread the word.
Thank you all. We are running 7 minutes late. I'm going to hand over to Jennifer. But before that, just to thank all these wonderful 93 volunteers who've signed up to help us during the festival. Each one of you have been fantastic. Thank you all. Thank you very much. And of course, Kelly and her crew. Thank you. And all our technical crew. Thank you all very much. I'm handing over to Jennifer, who's your venue manager for the next weekend. Come.